Good morning, everyone. This is not a Wednesday morning check-in video. This is a video um, just from my heart and say what's on my mind. A lot of people call me an extremely positive person, which I am, optimistic person, which I'm that too. But it's not natural to never be upset about anything, and I do get upset about things, and things do bother me. And I don't usually talk about that online, the things that bother me, except for speaking up for what I think is right, which I wish everyone would do that. So, anyway, I'm just going to speak from the heart this morning on some things that are on my mind and things that upset me. Um, these are in no particular order except the first one, and the second one too. First of all, I am tired of the racial injustices in our country. Um, It's gone on for so long. In fact, it's gone on since slavery time. We have not only enslaved people, and I'm speaking from a white male perspective, we enslaved a whole group of people, brought them over to our country against their will, eventually went to a war, and the South lost that war, and the right thing prevailed. That doesn't mean that I'm not proud to be Southern. I am. I am nothing but Southern, so can't really say I'm not proud to be a Southern, but I'm not proud of what we've done in our past. Um, since slavery, then we had the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, which brought about, change to some of the Jim Crow laws, which we were still persisting on discriminating against people of color. So they fought again, and they were able to prevail during Jim Crow times to a certain degree. But we have continued to have systemic racism in our country. And a friend of mine at work sent me a link to a book that I just recently purchased. And it talks about how to be an anti-racist, not just a non-racist. So it's not enough just to be not racist. You have to be an anti-racist right now. We have to do something in our country to bring everyone together. I can't stand the fact, we'll get to some things that upset me. I can't stand the fact that I, as a white male, can walk down just about any street in our country and feel completely safe, especially from authority. Um, and I can't stand the fact that I can drive on the road, and when I see police lights behind me, that I never have to worry that policeman is going to shoot me for anything. I can commit a crime even. I can, which I don't, but I could possess drugs, and I could get caught with that, possibly be arrested, probably get off, and probably just a warning. But if I was a black male, I'd be in jail. Our prison population in the United States is the highest in the world, predominantly African American, and a lot of them for minor offenses. Yes, there are black murderers and there are white murderers. In fact, statistically, you're more likely to be shot by a white male, especially in mass murders. You don't see African American males going and shooting up a theater or a place of business or a TV studio or schools. Those are white males usually. So anyway, I'm tired of other people not having the same privileges that I have. And I feel like now's the time that I have to speak up. Now's the time that movement is around and it is going strong, and we don't need to stop. And I'm going to say that I'm here to help in any way I can as a white male. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to stand up for others that are fighting for their rights. That doesn't mean that I haven't had hardships in my life, that I haven't lost people in my life, a lot of people in my life, that I haven't had sad times myself. It's saying that there's a whole group of people of a different race than me that, solely based on the color of their skin, have to endure hardships that I do not have to endure. So that's my first thing and being upset. And we have a leadership in this country, and I'm being very, very honest today. Leadership in our country that is further dividing us. So it doesn't matter to me if you're a Republican or a Democrat. What matters to me is that you have morals and that you believe that our country can come together. And the only way that our country can come together is start doing right by people. Start treating people as equals. And that means in the workplace and everywhere else. So if you see people as equal to you, no matter the color of your skin, I'm on your side. And I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. So that's one thing that upsets me. And it upsets me, I'm going to go a little bit further. They are peacefully protesting 90% of the time. Me too. 90% of the time it's peaceful protests. What you see on the news, especially Fox News, and yes, I'm going to call them out today, you're going to see any of the violence that happens, along the way. And there will be violence along the way. Most revolutions have some violence. But it's time for that revolution, and I do not condone violence. I condone peaceful protest. Look what they tried to do when everyone wasn't on the same page with the peaceful protest of Colin Kaepernick kneeling on the sidelines of an NFL game during the playing of the anthem. And people took that as a statement against the military that has fought to defend our flag and defend our country. Well, let me tell you, the flag is a sheet of cloth. It represents the United States. And he peacefully knelt. And to me, that was honoring everything that our veterans and our military is defending. It's that right to peacefully protest. So I believe, and I think it's finally happening, where they're going to give Colin Kaepernick another chance. And finally, the rest of the NFL is with him, which is great. I've heard NFL coaches speak. I even heard kind of a half-hearted apology from the commissioner of the NFL, Goodell, which I'm not a fan of. Anyway, he halfway apologized, and they're finally going to give him another chance, which is good. So anyway, I stand with Black Lives Matter because they do matter. And when you say all lives matter, you're demeaning a whole group of people that are fighting for their rights right now. The best analogy I've seen, and it's all over Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, is if you go to the doctor with a broken arm and you say, "Doctor, my arm is broken," and he said, "Well, all of your bones matter." Well, yeah, but I'm dealing with a broken arm right now. So just think about that. Black lives do matter. All right, second thing I'm upset about, this illness, this pandemic that we're going through, and the things that have not happened in our country to help us curb this. We are one of the worst hit countries in the world. And the reason for that is we did hardly anything at the beginning of this. First of all, we had leadership that knew about it in February. Most of us didn't know about it till March. They knew, we didn't. We had 8 years before this, last 3 years, we had 8 years before this of a leader that actually saw several pandemics around the world coming into the United States. There was SARS, there was bird flu, there was Ebola. There were all these pandemics that were out there. Somehow we managed. Somehow we prevented them from getting into our country. Even if they had got into our country like this one, what should have happened, this is my opinion, what should have happened is that the president should have sat down with every governor in our country, and we should have mandated, we knew at that time that masks were going to protect us. We knew that we were supposed to socially distance. We should have gotten all the governors on the same page, whether they were Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. Everybody should have been on the same page at that time. Now, we didn't have enough masks at the very beginning, so that was a problem too, that something could have been done about earlier than when it was done about it. We needed the masks that we did have for our medical professionals and our essential workers. And I'm glad that we were able to give them that. We weren't at first. Eventually, they were the ones that had access to masks. But pretty soon after that, at least a cloth mask, a bandana, anything, and they were telling us to do this, but not in any cohesive way. And when I say they, the CDC was telling us to do this. Some governors were saying to do it. If we would have socially distanced, I really believe this, use masks and socially distance in March and April, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We wouldn't have lost over 120,000 lives. We wouldn't have countless of the thousands and thousands of people with symptoms that may never go away, like the symptom of losing your sense of taste is a symptom now. And we can't do what we need to do. So I'm angry about that. I'm angry that I can't get out and live my life. I'm angry that I can't see my family as often as I want to see them. And I did get to visit with them yesterday, and we did social distance and wear our masks the best we could. I was able to see my mother and father. But for countless other people, they aren't able to do that. And this was the first time I've been able to do that. My life has been interrupted. Everyone in this country's life has been interrupted. All because we didn't start out doing the right thing and we were not prepared for a pandemic. And then I hear on the news they reconvened the task force to deal with this. And they're talking about the successes we've had. Well, we haven't had successes. I'm sorry. New York was able to blunt the curve by strict rules and stay-at-home orders. Other states weren't. And Texas, we're rising faster than anywhere in the country right now, I believe. California, too. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It is a human thing. So I'm upset about it. I'm mad about it. I'm mad that it interrupted my life. I'm mad that it interrupted my friends' lives. I'm mad that I cannot see my friends right now. And I'm mad that you cannot see your friends right now if you're following orders. We still have some people that aren't wearing masks. I go to the store. It's actually gotten a little bit better over the last couple of days when I think we finally have realized this thing isn't going to go away on its own. It's not going to go away with more sunshine. It's not going to go away during the summer. And if it does decrease at some point during the summer, it's going to come roaring back in the fall. We were not prepared for this. Our CDC actually was not prepared. And if you didn't know, our FDA and our CDC was cut before this in funding. And in addition to that, we're not playing nice with other countries around the world. We've become this nationalist society that has separated ourselves from other countries. And if you don't think that matters, look at the pandemic right now. Look at the deaths and the illnesses that are happening around our country. It matters to have other countries working with you. It matters to know what their country is going through, what our country is going through, and our experts sharing information around the world. That matters. So, okay, that's two things. The racial injustice and the pandemic. Third thing, and I think I have a longer list I'm actually going to talk about. The third thing is, do you realize that children are still being separated at our borders? Do you still realize that there are people that are locked in detention centers that just came to our country to escape violence? I hear the phrase sometimes, come into our country legally. Well, there's no way to do that unless you're from a white European country, maybe. But so when they're coming up from South America and from Mexico, there's no way they can legally enter our country. If they get to the border seeking asylum, they are turned away. So they have found other ways to try to get in the past. And then what do we do is we arrest them, sometimes kill them, arrest them and put them in detention centers. Then we have ICE going around, which has slowed down during the pandemic, mainly because of their safety, not for the safety of the people they were after, going around and trying to find illegal aliens in our country that have been here for years and doing their part and working their best and trying to make a better life for themselves. Since when did the United States of America become this place where people can't come for refuge? Our whole country was built on that. My family's ancestors did that. Your family's ancestors, I guarantee you, did that, unless they were Native Americans. And don't get me started on what we did to them. So that's just another issue that we seem to have forgotten about during this time. Is still going on. There's still a lot of people in detention camps. There are children by themselves without their mothers in detention camps. So that's happening. Environmentally, and I know some people don't believe in in warming, in global warming. It's science, okay? It's science. We're not a country that dismisses science. I guess we might be because it's pandemic. We sure are dismissing a lot of science, but we're not. We're not paying attention to what's going on environmentally. The restrictions and the regulations that were put in place over the last, even during the Bush years. I'm not singling out Obama did all these wonderful things. He did some things wrong too. Bush and Obama both had regulations in place that protected the people of our country from toxins and environmental waste and helped our country and our world globally. Those have been rolled back. National parks have been deregulated, and where they can come in and they can drill. They can cut down forestation. They can our animals won't have habitats. You know how many animals that are on the endangered species list right now? I don't. I don't know the count of it. It's a lot. I watch a lot of animal shows. So that upsets me too. We have not treated people fairly in this country. We have not treated our children fairly by leaving them a world like this. So these are the things that I'm probably most angry about. Things that were preventable. These aren't things that happened just that we couldn't do anything about. We could do something about all of these things. We've done nothing. And we can blame all the way back to Reagan for not paying attention to the AIDS crisis and that getting out of control. And I lost, around 35 to 40 friends during that time. To the Bush time, the Bush years, then we had the Obama years, and then and even the Clinton years. There's a lot that could have been done during that time, and they did a lot. Maybe not enough, but they did a lot. But over the last 3 years, those things are being rolled back. Those things are leaving, and people are actually praising a leadership that is dictatorial in style. When people are protesting on the street and there's tear gas and rubber bullets shot at them, at least they're not real, not on camera anyway. They're real when somebody's by themselves and getting pulled over and they're the wrong color. But our peaceful protesters, if you saw the photo op of the president holding the Bible upside down, by the way, can't quote a scripture to save his life, going across the street and holding that Bible, and to get there had to disrupt very peaceful protesters, which is what our country is founded on, is that freedom to protest. It's sickening. That just all, it sickens me. And maybe I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I hear that. You know what? I'm okay with that. Well, especially the bleeding heart, because I tend to think of it as I have morals and I care about people. Maybe I was blessed with too much empathy from the Lord. That's great. So if I tear up when I watch someone being hurt, no matter what the color of their skin is, that's a good thing in my opinion. It's a good thing that I have a heart. I never want to be one of those people that doesn't care about those people at our border, that doesn't care about people fleeing violence, that doesn't care about people being shot in the street, that doesn't care that a video could be hidden for 2 months after a man was actually chased down the street and executed by two people in a pickup truck while somebody filmed it. That's all upsetting to me. So there's a lot that our country could do. We could start now, and our president could start now. And I am not just bashing this president. We have leaders, elected leaders everywhere, that are not doing their jobs. And then they argue, they go back and forth. And I know we were founded on, or not founded on, but we have a two-party system in place, basically, with some independence. I think more and more people are becoming independent. And so I hope that we can do something about that. And let me just state this. Because I am a positive person and I am an optimistic person, I stated that I would end this video on a positive note and a note that's more like who I am. While all these things that upset me and all these things bring tears to my eyes and get me angry, the great thing is if you look at what's really happening around our country right now, the people are standing up. We have recent victories. We had a recent victory in two recent victories in the Supreme Court where DACA recipients were protected. DACA recipients, if you don't know, and I'm still convinced that a lot of people don't even know what that means. These are children that came over to our country, came to our country when they were babies, when they were children. They didn't choose to come to our country. They came over with their parents who were escaping a life that was not good for them. They were either escaping violence or they were escaping just to be able to make a living and make a better life for their children. They are, the DACA recipients have been living in fear, and they're still in fear. Supreme Court said that they're safe for right now. That was basically they said it was because of the way the administration, the Trump administration, submitted the paperwork. So I'm not sure. The Supreme Court's probably it's split on whether they're going to be protected or not. They've lived in this country all their life. They've never even been to their home country, most of them. And they're contributing. They're contributing taxpayer members of our society. These are not freeloaders. So anyway, that was one victory. Another victory was lesbian and gay and transgender rights were protected from being fired in the workplace just because you're gay or just because you're transgender. And those are two different things, by the way. If you didn't know that, I could do a whole nother video on the difference between those two things. Anyway, so there's hope. Those things give me hope. Our country is working the way it should work when we're faced with adversity, which means people get out and they protest, and the people will eventually win that. And I do believe the people will win that. I also believe we're going to get through this pandemic. And a lot of people are talking about this is going to change the way we live forever. Well, yeah, it is going to be some changes. There are going to be some changes. I think that there's going to be more online purchasing. There's going to be stores that make it online where before you used to go into the store. There's going to be some things like that that permanently change the way we do things in our country. But I truly believe that we will be able to go back to the days when we were able to go to a bar and sit down and visit with friends during happy hour, or go out to eat with our friends and see our family members without having to socially distance, without having to wear a mask. I believe the vaccine will happen. It may be into the fall, even by the end of 2020, but I believe we will have a vaccine for this, just like we finally developed a vaccine for Ebola and some of the other things. And I believe we'll have an effective treatment even before the vaccine. I have faith in our scientific community, even if some people don't and won't listen to them. I have faith in them. So, I am a positive person. I am an optimistic person. I have a lot of empathy. And I'm a bleeding heart and proud of it. So, love you all. Stay positive. Stay strong. Stand up for what's right. I will see you soon.